Hey everybody, Cowboy here. We have an excerpt from today's live beginner live lab session. We do that every day on YouTube at 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. EST, and then we go over to do a video for our private members for another hour after that through the market open. We do that every day, every weekday that is, except for holidays. Today's video is regarding a trade that I took last night at the beginning of the European session. It is a head and shoulders short, and it was on the AUD USD, and we talk about the methodology there. Go ahead and use your camera to take a picture of that QR code at the bottom of the screen. It will take you over to www.algofactory.tech, or just go straight to the website, see what we do. Also, at the end of the video, we have a little bit more information. And you can go to our social media. That all those links are on the YouTube page, on the main page there. We hope to see you. And if you come to our live sessions, you can talk to us and ask us questions. All right? Here we go. The head and shoulders pattern is going to look something like this, right? And the neckline is that line across the bottom. It's that dotted line you see. Okay, and it doesn't have to be like completely horizontal. It can be slanted, although it's always better if it's slanted up instead of slanted down, because the way that the targets work, the targets are based on the distance from the head to the neckline, and that neckline again is that bottom dotted line. So if it's slanted down, by the time you break out, you're eating into your profit. But if it's slanted up, you have more room towards the profit. Okay, so now I'm not going to get into the details on how we determine the targets, because that's something you can, come and join us, and we'll show you how we do that. Quite frankly, you could probably find out how to do that elsewhere. It's not a very secret thing, but again, it's just a service that we provide elsewhere. So the point, though, is that this head and shoulders did have a slightly negative slope. It's sloped. The neckline is sloped down, but it was such a high head and shoulders. The head was up so high that the targets go pretty deep, and I still had a room for profit. Now, here's the thing about it. You'll notice that my entry in the head and shoulders was before the price touched the neckline. So back to our drawing, right? The way that this works is, let me grab my path here. Price heads up, heads, we'll just follow this thing. Price goes like this, like so, and price goes like so, money printing. Well, most people will enter right as price hits that neckline. Most people will take their trade. Some people will wait for price to head down a bit, and then usually there's a pullback. And then as the pullback happens, that neckline gets retested. And then price heads down after that, down to the targets. Okay. So the way that works from a price action and structural standpoint, okay, is that you have structure that was built on these pivot points. So you have, let's get the arrows out here. You have this pivot point and you have that pivot point. And that creates a structure where price was going down and then it headed up. We've talked about this before, pivot points. So that structure, once violated, that's still going to exist. It was a support. Price was bouncing off of it. So that was a support, right? Well, once price goes below that, it is still there, but it becomes a resistance, which is the opposite of a support. So a support is when price is headed down into structure. For example, let's say this is your structure right here, right? And if price is headed down into structure, and that's a support because it's supporting the price is likely to bounce right off here. But if price is headed up into structure, then this is going to be called the resistance because price is headed up. Now, there are some other ways of talking about this. This is nomenclature that, let's say it's nomenclature that I will choose to use just for educational purposes. But and just a quick reminder, nothing we say on here is investment advice. It's all for educational purposes, and consult your licensed investment advisor before risking your money on the markets, because you can lose money. But the point here is that in this case, if price were to have a support and then price goes and breaks that support and that structure is violated, now that support tends to become a resistance. And price very often will want to retest. It'll head up, grab some liquidity, and head down. It's a very, very common way for price to act. So the conservative trader, when trading head and shoulders, may look for price to break below the structure that's created by this neckline and come back up to retest. And when that happens, one way to enter is you can enter a short after the price after you have whatever your algorithm says that tells you can enter, which probably will happen right about there. And then you can have like your stop loss, whatever it is, 1 ATR above the structure, perhaps, whatever your algo says you can do, whatever your method is. And then, of course, you have your targets, which if you want to know how those targets are calculated and determined, head on over to www.algofactory.tech, and we will go ahead and show you how that's done. You can get there by taking a picture of that QR code right there as well. It'll help you get in there. So on to the lesson, back to the lesson at hand. So what happened here, though, is I went ahead and my algo it gave me a lot of confidence to enter a little bit early before the neckline. Because if you have a shoulder that's formed and you can enter after that shoulder, it's a risky trade because you have this structure. You're literally trading against structure. But I do have an algorithm that does give me permission to do that, right? I've tested it. I know that there's a level of success and the targets are going to be the same. So it's just a higher entry. So I can enter, I'll put my stop loss above the shoulder for the moment. And then, you can have a nice entry right there. And then as price goes down and breaks that neckline and does this, you can move, or at least I can and do, move my stop loss all the way into profit to where my stop loss will now be where the stop loss would be if I had entered this way, and it's in a profit permanently, and then I can enter another trade as well. And then, of course, my stops tend to be a bit tighter than most because I have a way of doing that because I've tested it and I have the numbers that tell me I can do this kind of stop loss here, right? So that being said, this is a double entry and the actual trade is right here. You can see it. So as the right shoulder formed and I got a ping, I don't like to use the word confirmation in trading, but I got a ping from my algorithm. I went ahead and entered right there. Now price is broken below. I have a choice of entering at market, and I do have a way of determining a stop loss with an entry at market. So we are live every weekday, 8:30 a.m. EST, giving out free content. Come check us out on YouTube. Come talk to us. Go over to the website. That's www.algofactory.tech. Again, www.algofactory.tech. And for a limited time promotional offer, we are giving out memberships at $49.99 a month. There's a ton that we're offering over there. Come see what that's about. Also, you can see our Twitter link. All the links are up on YouTube. Come talk to us on social media. See us on the live YouTube videos. We hope to see you soon.